last 4 weeks, we have been embroiled in court battle with Walgreens in our Pasco County area. Throughout the trial, Florida attorneys have fought very hard and tenaciously for Floridians. And at issue in this trial and in this litigation was the opioid crisis and Walgreens' role in helping fuel the epidemic of addiction that still plagues our state today. And I want to take just a moment to thank the attorneys, the staff, the paralegals, everyone who was committed to ensuring that Florida was successful in these cases. Not only today's announcement regarding Walgreens, but so many other cases related to the opioid epidemic. I would like to thank personally the Chief Deputy of the Attorney General's office, John Gard, who not only worked in tandem with other attorneys on this case, but with other attorneys general offices around this nation to settle these historic matters. There was a lot of skillful prosecution, late nights, early mornings, and seemingly unending legal work that they have put in over many years. And it's because of their hard work and our dogged determination to ensure accountability for the citizens of Florida that we stand before you today to make this historic announcement. The state has now successfully concluded litigation with Walgreens, and as a result, we have secured more than $680 million for the state of Florida and hurting Floridians. And this is a promise kept to our citizens. Before taking office, I vowed to seek accountability from those who helped fuel the opioid crisis. As my work as a prosecutor and as a judge, seeing the devastation firsthand, I resigned to be an active player and make sure that redress was afforded to our state and our citizens. I now stand before you today to say we have successfully accomplished this mission. In fact, Florida is the first state in the nation to successfully conclude litigation against opioid manufacturers, distributors, and pharmacies. Walgreens is the 12th and final defendant in our case to hold major opioid distributors, manufacturers, and pharmaceutical companies accountable for fueling this crisis. This announcement brings the total funds secured through all of our determined litigation efforts to more than $3 billion for the state of Florida. These monies will be paid out over the next 2 decades and will be used to abate the opioid crisis and help families and communities heal throughout our state. The funds will go to communities hit hardest by opioid abuse, and they will be spent on treatment and prevention. The funds will undoubtedly save the lives of Floridians. What we have accomplished is no small feat. In fact, Florida continues to lead the nation in legal efforts to hold defendants accountable for their unique roles in this terrible public health crisis. As tough as this journey has been, it is not over. There is still work to be done. The latest estimate shows that Florida continues to lose 21 lives a day to opioid abuse. And for the first time in our nation's history, 100,000 Americans overdosed and died from drug use in a 1-year period. With these funds, Florida goes on offense to stop addiction and save lives. We now go into battle armed and ready to fight back hard against this man-made crisis. And we do it in unison with the more than 200 cities and counties that have stepped up to support and benefit from our litigation efforts. Much of this money will flow to the hard-hit areas and will be used locally where they can do the most good and help families struggling because of opioid abuse. This is indeed a historic day for Florida, for those struggling with addiction, and for the communities that are suffering the effects of this nationwide crisis. I am glad we have been able to end this monumental litigation and move past the courtroom. Once we have moved past the courtroom and we've secured these funds, real progress can begin in saving lives. Please know that the battle that we have waged has not just been in the courtroom. It will continue to live on in our streets, within families, within an individual life that is suffering from addiction. But I am hopeful that moving forward, we can begin to turn the tide of this crisis and change lives and our state forever. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'd be happy to take any questions you may have.
General, you mentioned about how these funds will be used to help communities most devastated about this. What about the families who have already lost people whose lives have been destroyed? What compensation might they get?
Well, our efforts were focused on bringing in the much-needed resources to abate this crisis, ensure that we could save the lives that are still struggling. And each of the cities and counties that will receive funds, their governing authorities will have some autonomy to determine how they spend those funds. The state legislature, the president of the Senate, along with all the senators and the speaker and representatives, they will also have the ability to decide how these funds are spent. We were extremely focused on ensuring that through our litigation efforts that we were aggressive in seeking the most money that we could secure for our state based on the unique roles of these defendants.
What was the thing that turned the tide in this trial? Obviously, you know, their resettlement beforehand, they chose to wait until well into the proceedings to settle. So what happened?
I can tell you we had a talented team of attorneys who, after years of litigation, the evidence presented day after day after day in trial, after 4 weeks of the state putting on under oath into evidence how Walgreens played a role in this epidemic, towards the end of our case, the white flag was raised and we were able to begin negotiations in a productive manner. Today is a culmination of that trial.
What about those doctors who participated in this, the sales reps, the drug company itself? Do you go after them as well?
Well, certainly I can tell you as a judge who sat in a criminal court for a long time, I can tell you as a prosecutor, and I know the state's attorneys around Florida, many of those have been convicted for their actions and will continue to be if they prescribe in a way that is unlawful. All right. We appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.